for some peace of mind, but TikTok said a gator drove a jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat, and someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line, and Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling, my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just
Well, good morning, everyone. I do want to give you guys a bit of a heads up that there are storms moving through my area, or at least here in the 8 a.m. hour. So if I happen to drop off, we did have a little bit of a power flicker already this morning. It's held pretty steady since then, but it looks like there's a line of storms coming or fixing it to come through. So, you know, always the fun stuff here on Mornings with Mo. It is a good morning. It's all of the craziness. And well, if you are in basically America today, you might be under a severe weather watch. So do look at, Ryan Hall or Max Velocity and howdy. So do be aware that there are a lot of storms out there this morning, and that you might have power flickers or things like that. Yeah, that it was much more north, but I do have a story pulled. And unfortunately there were some loss of lives, and it's just a really sad thing that, even in this day and age that, we still have storms that can just pop up on us. So our first story today, there has been growing criticism of the handling of the Nancy Guthrie investigation, and it seems that the lead investigator on the case, Sheriff Chris Nanos, has been forced to explain how he maybe fudged a bit of his resume, leaving first policing job in disgrace. So, there might be a reason that this case has been FUBAR from the beginning, is basically what we're getting from this article. Unfortunately, the Arizona sheriff leading the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance has did resign from his very first policing job to avoid being fired over embarrassing blunders, and posted a resume online that fudged the dates of his employment. Now, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos stepped down from the El Paso Police Department in 1982 after racking up a laundry list of infractions ranging from excessive force to off-duty gambling and improper use of his siren, along with simple tardiness. So while it isn't in this particular position, it does seem like he has been good at bending the rules or trying to break the rules. Now, maybe he's reformed, but if you're used to taking shortcuts, you don't generally become a more disciplined person. Now, those mixed steps include an allegation that he kicked a suspect in the head so badly that they were hospitalized, and landed Nanos with 37 days of unpaid leave in the early 1980s, and resulted in him finally being told to either step down or get canned, according to local news outlets. Now, he did take the resignation option, but messed up the dates in his publicly posted resume, which stated that he had remained at the El Paso department until 1984, 2 additional years longer than he was actually there. Now, the sheriff's office has acknowledged the inaccuracy, calling it another missed date. Clerical errors, he's like, look, it's just clerical errors. But Nanos himself bristled and brushed off, the implications of him kind of forgetting that he was forced to resign. That's your urgent request. Are you sure you don't want to go back to my high school and ask if I got any swats from the principal? Good luck with your hit piece, he told the reporter who asked him about that. Now, the resume discrepancy and eyebrow raising nature of some of Nano's departure from El Paso comes as the sheriff's office has been criticized over his department's handling of the search for Nancy Guthrie. Now, it's entered its 5th week, and we've really gotten no concrete leads or, things that at least to the public, but there have been ostensibly or observably some pretty big errors. Now, Nanos has been accused of making confusing and contradictory statements about the case and of leaving the scene of Nancy's kidnapping so unsecured that reporters and even pizza delivery men were able to walk up to the crime scene front door. Now, the lack of suspects in the 5 weeks since Nancy has been missing or snatched has led to criticism as well. Several persons of interest have been questioned, but all have been cleared, including a delivery driver who had never heard of the 84-year-old. Now, investigators haven't identified any real suspects right now. And again, this is leading to people digging into his past and wondering what is going on with this investigation. Now, I do believe that there were probably some missteps, but I think with the addition of the FBI, we will get some sort of conclusion about this, but I don't know that it will be anything good, unfortunately. Now, he hasn't always blundered. He was instrumental in the investigation of 2011 shooting of Representative Gabby Gifford in the attack that left 6 people dead and 13 injured. He had been the sheriff, of Pima County and has won 2 consecutive elections after that time. So, you know, while there are, I'm sure things that you could look at anyone's career and see where they've fallen short. These are pretty big issues, especially with someone in power that he was asked to resign at another locality. Now, it does seem like he's also had some really good, parts of his career. And I don't know. I don't know that we're going to get answers quickly with this one. I do hope that for the family of Nancy Guthrie and for all the people that are praying for her to, for the family, that we do get some answers, but I don't see them coming quickly with how badly the investigation went forward at first. Well, another day, well, passenger on an airline acting badly, or many people. But an unruly passenger has been arrested after a wild brawl with an officer on Southwest Airlines, according to a video. Oh, and he had a man bun. Oh, well, that's embarrassing. A passenger flew off the handle after a verbal argument with his wife and charged at an off duty officer who was trying to de escalate the situation while boarding a Southwest Airlines flight on Friday. This is more Spirit airline behavior. Uh, Marcel Martinez launched himself at a male officer who easily towered over him moments after boarding a Denver bound flight. With Southwest Airlines at the Miami International Airport on Friday afternoon. Now, the victim, an officer with the U.S. Department of Energy, was propelled backwards but managed to stand his ground even as Martinez continued to shriek and had his arms locked around the man's taller waist. Yeah, it's, not that I'm saying you have to be tall to be able to kick ass, because I am sure that height isn't everything, but when you have to shout up, like, I'm aggressive. It's not a big thing. It's why this look that Corey keeps doing when she's all like, what, 5'1" and 39 pounds is about as terrifying as when a Chihuahua walks up to a Rottweiler, you know? It's just, you're not, you're not. No. Now, the plainclothes officer was eventually able to gain the upper hand and pin Martinez against the wall, preventing him from flailing or, lashing out further. Another angle of, you know, the apparent lead up to the midday brawl showed Martinez leaning around the armed officer while calling his wife to leave with him. Yeah, no, we don't know each other. I don't know you. You don't know me. I am not getting off the plane with you, dude. While Martinez continues to call for his wife, the bespectacled victim mouths directions to the flight attendants and remains firmly planted in the aisle, acting as a human shield between Martinez and his wife. Now, after a few moments, Martinez appeared to give up, huffing "F you guys" before, heading to the exit. Martinez was disruptive from the moment he stepped onto the airplane, according to an arrest report. Now, that arrest report also stated that the victim is an officer with the U.S. Department of Energy, although his exact role isn't quite clear. The victim told the police that Martinez had bloodshot eyes and the odor of alcohol, according to the report. Now, Martinez tried to play it off as an argument between his wife and him that got out of hand because the victim, well, was being nosy. He has been booked into the Turner Guilford Night Correction Center on charges of battery and disorderly intoxication by the end of the day. So, just don't drink to the point of excess. Look, I'm not a great flyer. I'm not saying that I'm above drinking a little bit of an adult beverage. I don't get soused to the gills because I also don't want to look like a jackass. Talking about the weather and kind of the ominous rumbling of thunder coming in to my area, a giant tornado ripped through a city just south of Chicago, causing significant damage to the area. And I know I don't want to sound crass. I don't want to sound insensitive, but thank God this tornado did not reach Chicago because the greater the population of an area, the more, injuries, fatalities, structural damage, just absolutely, heartbreaking that it hit anywhere, but a large tornado tore through a city just south of Chicago on Tuesday and caused significant damages of property and lives, according to officials. Now, the tornado struck Kankakee County, about 47 miles south of Chicago, and caused major damage on the south side of Kankakee City, according to Trooper Jamie Buford, a spokesperson for the Illinois State Police. Yeah, this is a pretty big storm, and I hope that people are there and they are getting the help they need. I'm sure they're without power, without their homes, and I hope that local surrounding communities are stepping up. Now, in video shared on social media, the twister is seen ripping across a field of farmland near the local airport while storm chasers line the roads in their vehicles. Officials have started cleanup, and details about the extent of the damage and whether or not there have been any injuries or death are not immediately known. Now, Kankakee City runs along the banks of the Kankakee River. According to the most recent census, it has about 23,500 people. Now, I hope that I was pronouncing Kankakee right. That's what it kind of. Oh, Kankakee. Well, no, I wasn't. Sorry. And here I was proud of myself. I was like, hooked on phonics finally worked for me. But no, 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 it did not work. I do hope that you guys are all, again, not to terrify you or anything like that, but do be mindful of the weather, around your area because these storms with the, as warm, unseasonably warm as it has been and as moist as the air is, these storms can pop up all day today. Hopefully not as severe as yesterday, but they are possible in a large swath of continental America. So, do a little bit of, looking around at your, weather and just check it out. Now, I did want to again go kind of give you the updates because I think this story has turned into something as tragic as it is, with the wife's show of grace to the people that were responsible or at least played a part in her husband's death, the immense showing of grace has allowed this young man to apologize and, speak out. The Georgia teen charged with killing the high school teacher Jason Hughes in a prank gone wrong has broken his silence. A for the love of Cheetos, Mo, English, it's not hard. A Georgia high schooler charged with fatally running over his teacher in a prank gone wrong has expressed his deepest sorrow as he vowed to honor the loving educator's memory after the tragedy. Jaden Wallace, the 18-year-old North Hall high schooler, faces a slew of charges, including first-degree vehicular homicide, after his math teacher slipped outside his own home and he was fatally run over. We are a family in deep remorse and grieving over such a tremendous loss in our North Hall community. Jason Hughes meant the world to our son, Jaden, the Wallace family has said in a statement. He took time to invest in Jay and poured his love into him, making a lasting impact. Along with the rest of our family, Jay expresses his deepest sorrow and sincerest apology to the Hughes family. Now, Wallace is also facing criminal trespassing, littering, and reckless driving offenses. He personally addressed the high school golf coach's death. I pledge to live out the remainder of my life in a manner that honors the memory of Coach Hughes by exemplifying Christ. He will never be forgotten, the teen said in a statement. Now, Hughes had been excitedly waiting outside his home in Gainesville, Georgia, to catch Wallace and his friends rolling his property with toilet paper as part of an ongoing prank war tradition at the high school. Now, Hughes's home was a clear target for the prank war, given that teachers' homes were worth 2 points, according to last year's rule set, and both he and his spouse were teachers at North Hall High School. Now, after catching the pranksters, Hughes ran after the teens, but slipped and fell in the road because of the rainy weather and was run over as Wallace attempted to drive his pickup truck out of the way. Now, the teens did give first aid. So basically, they saw what happened, stopped, and then tried to fix whatever or, render aid at least. Unfortunately, the teacher passed away from his wounds. Now, Hughes's wife, so the teacher who passed away, his wife, a fellow teacher, has called for the charges to be dropped against the teens. This is a terrible tragedy, and our family is determined to prevent a separate tragedy from occurring, ruining the lives of these students. This would be counter to Jason's lifelong dedication of investing in the lives of these children. Now, the freak accident did come after school officials had called on the students to end the annual tradition, as students in previous years had taken things a bit too far. So, I don't know whether the state is going to be listening to the widow. Now, well, wait a minute. I spoke too soon. Now, Hall County District Attorney Lee Dara said he would look into dropping the charges against the teens, saying they were charged without his office being contacted. I have talked with the family on the phone and I will meet them in person soon. The request to drop these charges will be given great deference. I was not consulted by law enforcement before these charges were leveled, and I will be reviewing the evidence as I should and will be deciding soon. Now, Hughes does leave behind his wife and their 2 young children, and they have set up a GoFundMe that has raised over $450,000 to be used for future college expenses for the Hughes' 2 young sons. So I do hope that the district attorney listens to the family, and I hope that the teens look, you did a really dumbass thing, and you are going to have to live with the guilt of that for the rest of your life. I encourage you to not let that guilt stop you from living a good life. Don't let that guilt be a stopper. Let it be a motivator for you to do good. And it doesn't have to be a grand life, just a happy life. Go on and live happy moments for your teacher. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be big. Do good things, do small good things. If you see someone and you're like, you know what, I bet my teacher would want me to help them, go do that. If you see someone in the world struggling to learn something, be a teacher, be a leader, teach. You don't have to go be a teacher, but you can help other people. You can help counsel other people who have made really dumbass choices, and that you can live and grow beyond those really dumbass choices. As someone who has made many dumbass choices, you can let them stick you in that sticky tar pit of guilt and self-loathing, or you can look at them and say, "Let's move on, dust ourselves off, and if we meet someone in a sticky tar pit, we help them get out." That's what life is. You land in a tar pit, you learn how to get yourself out, and then if you ever meet someone in a tar pit, you help. You give them the tools to get themselves out. So I really do hope that going forward, the DA will listen to the widow's request and drop the charges, and hopefully the children can be given support and therapy to work through this, and let this become a legacy of paying it forward, being merciful, and giving grace, at an appropriate time. Well, I haven't been keeping up with the Charlie Kirk hearings as much because honest to God, y'all, and I like right to tiny baby Jesus, I cannot handle Kathy Nestor anymore right now. I need a Kathy Nestor break. She has done irritated the ever living snot out of me with her attacks on logic and coherent thinking. So I simply cannot deal with Charlie Kirk right now, though I do want to cover it. I can't do double Kathy Nestor with Charlie Kirk and her. Her voice is just gonna her Southern belle, like butter wouldn't melt. Condescension is just about enough that I can only take it for about 8 hours with her. Now, prosecutors are citing Charlie Kirk Israel conspiracies to fight alleged killers' pleas for private hearings. Yes, the defense, Kathy Nestor and Miss Lewis seem bound and determined in the Tyler Robinson case. Uh, no, I want them to stream the case. I'm going to have to detox from Kathy Nestor for a little bit because I can't take the condescension from a stupid person is grating. The utter lack of comprehension from someone who is a literal illustration of the Dunning-Kruger effect is a bit gnawing to my sense of, logic. Yes, for the greater good, but again, they have been hell-bent to keep the media out, and, well, the one that's Kirk, and then that's Tyler Robinson. Now, I do wonder with if Tyler Robinson is watching the Corey Richins trial and has maybe decided to go pro se. Now, Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old accused of taking the life of Charlie Kirk, and his lawyers are arguing and have continued to put motion ins to take cameras out of the courtroom to ensure a fair trial. But the prosecution says, if anything, closed door hearings will just encourage more outlandish kind of conspiracy theories and speculation. And for once, I agree with the state here. I think that trying to hide this is going to lead to more of Candace Owens' craziness. And honest to goodness, I can't deal with any more craziness between Kathy Nestor and Candace Owens. I just can't do it. Like, that is a nexus of stupid and incompetent that if they were to come together would make a black hole of stupid that would destroy the time space continuum. I shouldn't watch Orson Scott Card stuff. I'm I don't know. I mean, they have been the trial has to be public. It has to be. It is so political. It is the American people saw a man killed on what is ostensibly or, for the current time, live television. America demands a trial, regardless of where you stand politically. A man was killed in front of his family on live television. There was a time in America where that would have stopped America in its tracks. And now we are so divided, we have people giggling and laughing and doing all this other stuff. And I get it. You don't like Charlie Kirk. Fine, whatever. I didn't ever think I would be living in a world where we would be celebrating people dying before the body was even cold. And I get it. I joke about Kevin Spacey. Look, I'm not saying I'm getting a cupcake when he passes away, but Grim Reaper, F you. You took Betty White before you took Kevin Spacey, and that is unforgivable fucking bull. We need Betty White in this timeline, and you keep taking the good ones. I mean, we could have used Ozzy Osbourne. I think Crazy Train is kind of good for this timeline, but you keep taking all the good ones and leaving Kevin Spacey, and I'm getting a little ticked off about it. Sorry, that's a personal Mo rant. And look, legitimately, and here's the weird thing about me. Here's the weird thing about me. I say all this, but if I actually met Kevin Spacey, I would probably pray that he went to heaven or, found peace in his life. As much as I'm like I'm a table flipping Jesus. Once I generally meet people, I I tend to want the best for them even if they're not my cup of tea, because I understand that to be that bitter, that broken, that hateful, that spewing of whatever the diarrhea of the logical mind is that you're doing comes from a deep place of hurt or inadequacy. Now, I'm not your doctor, I'm not your therapist, I'm not gonna take time to heal you, but I get that a lot of craptastic dumpster fire behavior usually comes because people have been hurt before. And while I can rationalize and logic that out, that doesn't give you an excuse to continue to make up ridiculous stories. Now, courtroom documents have shown that, yes, the defense continues to ask or try to take media out of hearings and the trial, but the prosecutor continues to make in his motions the point that to keep proceedings out of the public would invite more speculation and imply that transparency was not being given to this case because of X, Y, or Z. I mean, put in your conspiracy theories. Now, the prosecution cites a number of conspiracy theories that have already circulated, including unfounded accusations that Israel was behind the murder. Now, according to the papers, these conspiracy theories have caused concerns for the prosecution, and Tyler's and his attorneys are not wrong to assume that all the publicity thus far has been unfavorable to him. Yes, publicity has been unfavorable, but by keeping the media out, do you think that you're going to stop the media from being unfavorable? No, it means that people that don't understand how to record documents are going to twist things rather than being able to see the hearing. So, defense, you're going to have to decide whether you would like to be in charge of the narrative and crafting it if you're able to competently do it, which I have questions about. You do it through hearings, you do it through what you say at hearings. You want them to be published because you wanna say, "Hey, we're starting to look through this data, and we have issues with this, this, and this." Again, Tyler, if you are rolling the dice on competency for your, cohort of legal wanderers, you're gonna get a 1. Now, again, this will be something that is continuing to happen. I do find the judge that is in charge of the Charlie Kirk case to be very even-tempered, very cognizant of not only his need to have the appearance of transparency and be a fair and, unbiased goalkeeper of the law, but he seems to understand that the entire world wants to see this trial. And he understands that they have a right to see this trial as part of our jury system or our jurisprudence system. So I don't think he's going to be swayed by the defense, given the defense that we know and how they argue, even if they had a point that I want to say Tyler Perry, but that's the wrong person. Tyler Robinson was getting poor media. I don't think they will ever be able to craft a motion that will sufficiently sway the judge to take away cameras. Now, that does not preclude Court TV, Law and Crime, and various other media entities from shooting themselves in the foot and, I don't know, showing the jurors, showing things that weren't supposed to be on the screen, focusing on the defendant too much. So I do see that there's a balance, and I think this judge is trying very hard, and he understands and is aware of the deep interest that the public has in this particular trial. So I don't think that anything that the defense in theory could do would sway him, and even if it would sway him, they are not competent enough to amalgamate an argument in a sufficient way that would sway him. Now, in other true crime news, it seems like we finally have gotten charges for the ex-Kentucky, University cheerleader, Lakin Snelling. She has been indicted on a manslaughter charge after, the autopsy of the child shows that her child was born alive. And good morning. Former University of Kentucky cheerleader Lakin Snelling has been indicted on first-degree manslaughter after autopsy showed that her newborn son, was born alive. Now, Snelling was 21 and charged by the Fayette County grand jury on Tuesday after the Kentucky Medical Examiner's Office determined that the baby was born alive and that his cause of death was asphyxia by undetermined means. So basically, they are alleging that she smothered him. Quote, they were given information about homicide, the four levels of homicide, and then deliberated and decided manslaughter first degree was the charge that should come out of the grand jury, according to Fayetteville Commonwealth Attorney Kimberly Bard. Now, Snelling was originally charged with abuse of a corpse and tampering with physical evidence and concealing the birth of an infant. Now, she did plead not guilty to all of those charges and has been on house arrest during the intervening time at her family home in Tennessee. Now, following her arrest, she withdrew from the University of Kentucky and is no longer a member of the stunt cheer team. She does face a maximum of 20 years in prison for first-degree manslaughter and an additional 11 years for the remaining charges if she's found guilty. Now, according to the fact pattern that we have thus far, the 21-year-old gave birth to a baby boy at around 4 a.m. on August 27th in her off-campus house in Lexington, Kentucky. Her roommates, who suspected Snelling was trying to conceal a pregnancy, told police they heard loud, strange noises coming from her room throughout the entire early morning. After the birth, she allegedly cleaned up the blood from the scene, showered, and left her home, skipping classes to visit the school clinic and go to McDonald's. While she was gone, her roommates entered the room and found a blood-soaked towel on the floor and a plastic bag containing evidence of childbirth. Now, they also, unfortunately and tragically, found this newborn in a black plastic bag. And while they did try to call 911, there was unfortunately no reviving the child. He was cold to the touch. Now, when Snelling returned home, she found the police already waiting for her and she was arrested. Now, she had initially told cops that the baby fell on the floor after she gave birth, and she didn't think he had been breathing or alive. The cheerleader claimed to have passed out on top of the baby and woke up to found the baby purple and blue. Now, she admitted to wrapping up the baby like a burrito and laying next to it because it gave her a little comfort at that moment, according to court documents. However, an investigation later revealed that she told medical staff that the newborn had showed a little bit of fetal movement and made a whimper when he was born. She also allegedly took several photos while she was in labor, but deleted them in an attempt to hide the birth. Now, investigators believe that other images may have been successfully destroyed before her arrest. So I am sure they are going through and trying to use, the Cellbrite and all that. It will be interesting to see, you know, this trial moving forward. Grand juries is only the state bringing forward their evidence. So while it is far fetched in non reality to me, there could be, I would have a hard time with this one, but maybe there's a defense here. Maybe, I mean, because we only know what we've found out from, because I haven't pulled the court documents on this or anything, but we only know, or I only know what I've seen in articles. And granted, it doesn't look great, but we have it, Squid, I have no idea. I I could conceal none of my pregnancies, like, none. I looked like I with in the last week of my pregnancy with youngest most feral, I could have doubled as the rolling boulder in an Indiana Jones movie. So, yeah, I don't get it. Now, I must have been in a mood to have an attitude this morning, but I look, there are sometimes, because y'all know me, I've been trying to be more positive and stuff, so I've been trying to limit our Lord Chippy, but sometimes there is a headline that comes along that just breaks my mama heart, and I need to name and shame monsters and declare to the universe that hell no, these 2 will not have the last word. Mama Mo and chat will have the last word, so y'all buckle in, because I have explained to you the rage you are going to feel before I've shown you stories. Double, triple that for this story, and pray for Lord Chippy, because he's gonna have some damn indigestion, because these 2, oh, hell no.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Now, I have so many things to say, but first of all, I would like to tell you, whichever one of you 2 genetic links that should have been trimmed by the tree of destiny decided to make this little boy write that you are not a loved child, I will adopt his ass. I love him. So, screw you. Screw you. A incubator and her lover allegedly laid hands on an 11-year-old for years and made him write, "You are not a loved child." Again, I have thoughts on what I would do if I were the president to these people. The mother of an 11-year-old boy and her boyfriend were arrested after police say an employee at a local Illinois business found the child badly beaten with blood on his face. Now, an employee at the Fox Lake business called police on the morning of Friday, March the 6th, describing the boy as just being covered head to toe in injuries. Now, according to documents viewed by local news, the child had fled from his home to the business, where he reported that his mother had caused everything that they saw. Now, Fox Lake investigators and officers then met with the employee and the boy, who was wearing only underwear and just appeared to be battered and bruised. The department said in a news release on Monday, March the 9th. Now, the child was taken to Northwest Medicine McHenry Hospital for a medical assessment as officers headed to his home. This is why I can't be a police officer, y'all, because I'd be like, turn off your body cams. I mean, they'd get to the prison in a couple pieces. What happened? They tripped multiple times downstairs, Your Honor. I can't help gravity. Again, I know this about me. I know I would go full Dirty Harry, which is why I should never give power. Ever. I should never get power. Now, at the Fox Lake residence, officers arrested the mother, Priscilla P. Marshall. Now, Fox Lake is a suburb of Chicago. Now, the investigation revealed that Marshall and her boyfriend, Cody R. Marion, had been laying hands on the boy for several years, including, laying hands on him with household items, pouring dish soap in his mouth and ears, and they wouldn't let him attend school as well. Now, Marshall is 34 and Marion is 35, and they are charged with aggravated battery to a child, domestic battery involving or bodily harm, domestic battery involving physical contact, and endangering the life or health of a child. Now, it's not clear whether either of these two betrayals of humanity's genetic legacy have retained counsel. I hope not. I hope they go pro se. Please. Now, the boy told his harrowing story that he woke up that morning to Marshall tossing items at his house, and that morning while, his mom was cleaning dishes. Marshall allegedly began laying hands on him and told him that no one loves him while his two younger sisters cried. Now, the boy said she continued to lay hands on him, and at least the other two children appear to show no harm, but this is clearly a case of this was a scapegoat child. Anything that went wrong, this child got blamed for it. And look, kiddo, I know you're probably not going to be watching this, but I want you to know that there's a whole world waiting out here for you. Just because you haven't met the people that have shown you love yet doesn't mean there aren't so many people that want the chance. You are not unloved. Not a chance. You are going to do amazing, simple miracles in someone's life. You are here for a purpose. And if you ever run across this, you were wanted and you were loved by me. By everyone you're gonna meet and touch, and it doesn't have to be a big thing, just saying hi to people. We never know what those little things that we do every day when they make that big change in someone else. So, if you ever see this, someone loved you, someone wanted you, and the sad, disgusting, heartbreaking thing that makes me wanna suck my soul out so I don't feel anymore is that there are hundreds of thousands of people who want to be parents, want to hold a child. And you got parents like these that throw away the greatest treasure that you're ever gonna get. Honest to God, if I were president, the real thing I would do would be to cut all the red tape for adoption. And listen to me when I say this because I wanna be very clear. Gay, straight, single mom, black, white, handicap, you have to pass a background check. You have to not be a drug addict. You have to be a good person. But apart from that, I don't care who you are because families are who choose to love you. I don't care if that family is two moms or two dads. Again, as long as you don't hurt that children, you invest in that child's life to make them the best person they can be. You give them everything that is in you. You try your best because I said this on Mornings with Mo, and you wanna know the greatest paradox to me of human behavior as I grow up? If you talk to any mom that you think is a good mom, you go up to a good mom. Now Universally, normally, if you say, "Hey, you know what? You are a fantastic mom." Universally, if you go up to a good mom, they will look at you and like, "Oh, you guys know, I'm doing my best. I try, but I struggle all the time." A good mom will constantly be worrying about, "Am I a bad mom?" Like, a good mom is 90% ate up with mom guilt about things their kids don't remember, okay? Now, in the paradox of human behavior, the craptastic moms who end up in court, the ones that are like, "I don't know how my baby died. I'm a good mom." The moms who universally think they are a good mom without questions are usually the most sucktastic moms in existence. Now, I don't know if there's a therapy term for whatever this paradox is that dumb people seem to think they're really great at things other than the Dunning-Kruger parenting effect. But the funniest thing to me is that the more moms I encounter that I admire are they are so worried about, ate up with mom guilt that it's the moms that think they're doing a great job that are generally crap. I just find that to be very odd. I do hope that the state or whoever has custody of this child is now giving him the help and the therapy and the safety that he needs. He is always going to have some scars from this, but scars don't have to be something that limits you. It can be something that helps you and reminds you if you meet someone that's following or walking the same path that they can survive and heal, and you did. I just look, allegedly in Minecraft, I'm not saying that if I had magical powers, I would make them both have genital hives of a very itchy variety, which is again why God did not bless me with magical powers, because can you imagine the crotch rot I would give to people that I don't care, like, that piss me off? And not like the kind that you no, like the kind you can't walk straight. I'm talking about, like, oozy, pussy, gross, smelly. I'm talking about that. I mean which is again why God probably did not give me, the power to give people instantaneous crotch rot. Hey, one second, y'all. I'm gonna go shut my window before my curtains fly off. So much for getting some air. One second. Oh, well, that's cute. Oh, yes. Don't get irritated. Alrighty. Oh, no, it is fine. Yes, I will hold you. Oh, dear Lord. Come on. It's never a graceful fall into the chair. Look. Oh, sorry, wash bar. I forget. Okay, how about my magical power? So I have decided I it probably did. It's probably uh why I'm all stuffy. What I Where was I going with this? Let's see. Yeah, just I hate people sometimes. We are getting some pretty good wind. So I will say, straight line wind is also pretty scary, especially when you live around a lot of trees. We have been strategically taking down trees that were dead. I was unaware that you had to cut down dead trees. I figured nature would do that for you because it's outside. Um, Now, when I had this, because Mr. Mo came up to me, he's like, "We need to get these trees cut down because they're dead." And I was like, "It's called nature." And he said, "Yeah, nature would put it down in our living room." So After being told that sort of logic, we have cut down, I think, like 9 trees around our property. Uh, so that is, kind of I feel less worried now when we get these straight lined winds, but there were definitely a lot of trees near our house that had to come down, and it's kinda sad because now our front lawn looks all bare, but, eh, it'll be okay. Now, for the headlines that will make you wonder, well, are we in the end times or is Mother Nature just having a little bit of a moment? A momentary moment that seems to have lasted all of 2026 because I look forward in my I look forward in my weather app thing, and why did it try to show me some flurries next week? I was like, "Do what now?" I was not amused. I was not amused at the fact that there might be flurries. But let's get to the headlines that'll make you wonder, are we in the end times? Well, not sure, but 2026 seems to be outdoing itself. Maybe the 2012 thing was wrong and it was 2026 and it was written by ancient Mayan lawyers, which is why they didn't understand math. It's all making sense now.
The key-keeped scroll, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack listening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Well, I was not aware that, angler fishing could lead to a felony. I was unaware. An angler has been arrested at a fishing tournament for allegedly stuffing bass with weights. Yeah, but I didn't think that was I mean, yeah, you're a cheater, but I didn't think it was a felony. An angler was arrested during a bass tournament in Texas on Sunday and charged with violating fish tournament rules. That's an arrestable offense? Apparently in Texas, do not cheat in any sort of fishing tournament. Because the tournament was offering a cash prize of $10,000 or more, the charge is a third-degree felony, and records show that Daniels was released on Monday on a $20,000 bond. Now, an official statement shared with Outdoor Life, the TPWD officials said that they were contacted by tournament organizers Sunday to investigate a bass that Daniel had brought to weigh in. Now, tournament staff flagged the bass after using a metal detecting wand on the fish that alerted them to a potential presence of a foreign object. Are I guess I didn't realize fishing was that deep that people are like weighting their interesting. Now, that raised the concerns that Daniels had tampered with the fish before bringing it in to weigh in. After confirming the alert, wardens conducted a necropsy on the fish and discovered 3 weights in its stomachs that showed no signs of erosion. And the warden also located weights of the same size and style in the angler's boat. Oh, well, I mean. The arrest took place during the second and final day of the Lake Fork Lure Company tournament, which was held on Lake Fork and presented by Sealy Outdoors. Now, Daniels of Willow Park was one of 564 anglers competing in a local tournament and vying for a cash prize of up to $11,500. Now, the overall prize for the biggest fish caught was 10,000, but there were additional cash prizes as well. Now, Daniels, who works as a guide on Lake Fork and fishes in bass tournaments regularly, tells Outdoor Life he will not comment on his arrest until he has spoken to his attorney. You think you would have talked to your attorney when you were in jail because you wouldn't talk to the police. Now, criminal records reveal that Daniels was convicted of a misdemeanor in Wood County in 2019 for possession of a slot limit black bass. What the hell? This man's gonna have the weirdest stories when he does time, like, "What you in for?" And one guy's like, "Disorderly." The other guy's like, "Assault." He's like, "Cheating in a bass tournament." I mean, you better hope you're not sent to the clink for this, because I don't know how much you have to beat other guys up to establish a rep when you're in the clink for, like, cheating in bass fishing. Like, I don't know how one establishes a rep with that particular crime. I haven't watched enough of Orange Is the New Black or, The Wire to ascertain that one. Apparently, Daniels doesn't like to follow the rules when he is told not to do them while fishing. Well, a man has been hospitalized after turning blue from head to toe, leading to a bizarre bedroom discovery. Oh dear Lord, what did you do? A man was left mortified after being rushed to the hospital, having turned blue from head to toe, only to discover it was dye from his bed sheets. Yeah, you would think that you would know this is gonna happen. Also, this means that you didn't wash your sheets after you got them home, because typically with a darker toned fabric, you're gonna wash it because, to get the excess dye off, which means you took them straight from the package and put them on the bed. Y Jesus, take the wheel. Take the wheel. Tommy Lynch, 42, had bought navy blue bed sheets and slept on them for 2 nights when he woke up looking like an avatar or a smurf. He felt extremely tired, and a friend who works as a carer, sorry, took one look at him before rushing him to the nearest hospital. Oh god. He's gonna feel like such an arse. Like, "Sir, just take a shower." He was taken straight in to see the doctor and was given a bed within minutes while they were concerned about his oxygen levels. But when the doctor rubbed his arm with an alcohol wipe, the swab turned blue and Tummy realized that the culprit had been, well, excess dye. The doctors Lynch said the doctors gave him a good laugh, but he left a little more red than blue in the end. Now, the construction worker from Castle Gresley, Derbyshire, said, "I never knew you had to wash your sheets before you slept in them." Everyone in the reception of the A&E was staring at me like they'd seen a ghost. I had to walk up to the desk and I didn't even know what to say. "Hi, I've woken up blue." Oh, he's kinda cute, like, maybe with a different haircut. I mean, he's got a really nice head for a bald because he's got no divoties, but then he's got this, like, spiked up hair for no reason, just, like, on the top. I So, he'd been gifted the king size bed sheets from his friend Dale, and, he was like, "I'll just put these on there." However, he didn't realize that you were supposed to wash them first to stop the color dye from transferring onto skin. On the second night of sleeping in them, he overslept and woke up in the afternoon bright blue. The day before, he had shook hands with someone and they looked like blue, but he just thought he was cold. The next night, I must have overheated because I was very cozy, so at least the blue sheets helped him stay warm. It just made him look like he was cyanotic. My friend Dell woke me up by knocking on the door. As I had slept for 14 hours, he took one look at me and said I needed to go to the hospital. I sent my mom a picture and she was panicking about my blood circulation while I was pretty confused because I'd just woken up from a dead sleep. I went upstairs, put on clean boxers, and tried scrubbing my hands, but it didn't come off. So, I just kind of sorted my hair. And since he'd seen this kind of skin coloration as a carer before, uh, this poor man. Oh no. Now Lynch, who sleeps in the nude, well, at least you won't have tan lines for your blue, sir. It's just all it's a full coat. It's just good priming. They whisked me straight through, they put me on oxygen, and they kept asking me all these questions. I had about 10 doctors all around me at one point. They went to take my blood, and as soon as she wiped my arm, the light went blue, and then it clicked, and I said, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." "Oh, well, I mean, if you wanna show us your six-pack, sir, for science, I" "Darn science, we have to look." Also, how dare he? How dare he, uh, you know, you do something this ridiculous and still have a six-pack? This is unfair. Because if you go to the ER for a stupid reason, you shouldn't have a six-pack. It's just not fair. Now, Lynch does have vitiligo, and he said, he gave the doctors a good laugh, but stressed he didn't mean to waste their time. He rang his mom to tell her that he had dyed himself, but patchy reception left her thinking that he had called to say that he died. Oh, no. Can you hear me now? I've died. Oh, no. After, reestablishing contact and explaining to his mother that he was still alive, but had died himself, DYE, you know, um, she was now he did spend the rest of next week trying to wash the blue off by having multiple showers. I left more red than blue, trying to scrub off the blue. People still look at me weirdly, as I still look a little blue. So there you go. At least his friend cared enough about him to think, "Oh my gosh, this is not looking good. We should go to the hospital." So there you go. That those are the stories, you guys, for this morning. I am going to be, pulling some clips from this, and then now I have checked, Court TV, and according to what I've seen, the Corey Richins trial because, they had it on at 10:30 or starting at 10:30, yesterday. Now it continues to start at 10:30 even though, it seems like the lawyers were supposed to be in the court earlier. So, uh, we'll be starting at 10:30, when they do, but I'll be looking out, because they might start earlier since I don't know that Court TV was aware that, the lawyers were supposed to be back at normal kind of time, 9:30. So I will be looking at that as I edit and run a quick errand. Then I will be back English. Then I will be back with you guys, for the Petty Express. Uh, and the Corey Richins Day 12. Now, um, to kind of temper your expectations, realistically, I think there's still a lot more that they have to cover. The whole walk the dog letter still hasn't been adjudicated. So I think it's very, very wishful thinking by both the state and the judge that the defense will be ready to go forward with the testimony today. I foresee them being ready by tomorrow, but I think that there's still a lot of things that they have to talk about and wrangle. And I honestly don't see the defense having done the instructions the way the judge explained them correctly last night. So we may be in for a lot more legal shenanigans and wrangling. And like I said, Tyler Robinson, I would be looking for other lawyers. That's my genuine opinion at this point. But I will see you guys in a little bit. Thank you so much for joining. Remember, pay attention to the weather around you if you're in some of the areas with storms coming. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, have a sassy mouth, and carry a can of bitch fire because kindness doesn't equal doormat. Bye, you guys.